Welcome to the Season 10 premiere of the Extreme Anime Radio Podcast. Now, before we start, we do want to give you a heads up that unfortunately we had some issues during the recording of the show with Neff's audio. We're not sure if it was on Neff's end or the way the recording software took in his audio. It did sound okay during the live program, but unfortunately when we went back to listen to the audio, Neff's audio did come in choppy in some places. Now, we have been away for a few months. There was a lot to talk about, a lot of video show and tell especially. So we are going to leave the audio the way it is, and hopefully you can understand what he's saying, but we do apologize in advance because it's not exactly the audio quality that we want. We thank you for your understanding, and we hope you enjoy the Season 10 podcast premiere.
Extreme Anime Radio.
Season 10 is upon us at long last. Welcome to XAR on Twitch or on the podcasting room or wherever you're watching or listening to us. It is the Extreme Anime Radio Podcast Season 10 premiere. The long wait is over. I'm JR. Thank you so much for tuning in on this September the 24th, 2024. Joining me on the other side of the screen, Okay, if you're watching me right now, well, are you watching me or are you watching the fake me on Neff's side of the screen? Can you see that, sir?
I'm seeing. Okay, what I'm seeing, I think everything froze on my end. I mean, I can see my video, but your video has frozen.
Okay.
And the countdown timer has started. It stopped for a while. I didn't know why.
Okay. Well,
so now the countdown timer's at 40 seconds.
I am up and running over here, so no dropouts.
Then Twitch is being Twitch.
Maybe.
I.e. Twitchy.
Quite possible, but no, everything seems to be going okay health-wise on the stream. As per usual, I restarted the internet adapter here before we started, so hopefully everything goes off well without a hitch, other than what's happening just now. But let's recap. Welcome to Season 10 of the Extreme Anime Radio Podcast. I am JR. He is Neff. It's been a long time, Neff. Even though it feels like I just saw you.
Yeah, funny how that works, isn't it? Real life and podcasting life being, of course, two slightly different things.
Yes. I'm going to put a mascot here on the bottom of the screen. And welcome, everybody. It's been quite a long time, and I have a funny feeling that for our opener of the Season 10 podcast, we're probably going to be talking for quite a while. Probably might not have time for anything special at the end because, wow, we've got a lot to catch up on, Neff.
You think?
Last time we did a podcast was about 3 months ago.
Yeah, that's quite a while ago. Yeah, now that I think about it.
But, well, before we go into what's been happening all this time, let me remind everybody that we are on the podcasting realm, anchor.fm/anime radio. We're on YouTube at Extreme Anime Radio. We are also on Twitch at Extreme Anime Radio. We'll have all the links up on the screen here for you guys later. But whether you're watching us or listening to us, we do appreciate your patronage as always. And so yes, let's go back to the beginning. The last time we did a podcast, I moved away from my house for a couple of months for summer work. And unfortunately, the internet in my apartment was not up to snuff. Number one, Wi-Fi. And to be fair, I'm also on Wi-Fi in my apartment here. Unavoidable. But yes, bad Wi-Fi, bad upload speeds equals not conducive for Twitch streaming.
Yeah, your internet, unfortunately, where you were for the summer was at best a wet noodle. And you don't Twitch well with a wet noodle.
No, you don't. No, you don't. So it was very, very hard not to be streaming or playing any games for that matter over a period of 2 months. But no, I had a plan coming back here at the start of this month to get through the beginning of the month and go to our wonderful adventure to celebrate Liz's big occasion. And by the way, Liz is now happily married. Thank you, Liz. Congratulations and all the best. We were so happy to be part of your celebration. And we're going to be sharing some photos here during the podcast. So if you're listening to us on the podcast on audio, we do advise you to go to either Twitch or YouTube. Twitch will have our podcast up usually for 2 weeks. But 24 hours at least after we finish the podcast will be up on YouTube. So look us up there on YouTube so you'll see what we've been talking about. As a matter of fact, Neff, let me go ahead and get those set. In the meantime, tell us about your time during the months of July and August.
Let's see. Caught up on some manga, caught up on some anime, discovered that one manga publisher finally realized that they can't get away with trying to soak their readers on a per chapter basis, which was very, very enlightening because it's like, oh, you finally got a clue. And of course, I've been devouring the series that I had been reading, like one chapter, have to wait like 3 weeks to read another one, etc., etc. So, I mean, caught up on a bunch of that. A few of the summer anime I tried, a couple I really fell in love with, a couple that didn't pan out for me. I haven't looked at the fall schedule yet because, of course, now we're into the colder months. Different sports have come back, including, hockey, which if some of you can see some of the background I have behind me, it is in tribute to the Gaudreau brothers, Johnny and Matthew, who passed away tragically due to an accident. Well, it's called an accident, but the perpetrator was, in fact, drinking and driving aggressively and struck and killed the two of them on bicycles.
Right. The day before their sister was supposed to get married, I think.
Yeah, that was the real terror of all that. It's like, because now you're thinking, oh my God, but for this, they wouldn't have been there, etc. And the really sad and twisted part of this is the accused is an addiction counselor.
Aye.
Yeah. So it's like, this is just one giant ball of suck and pain.
Yeah.
Both for hockey fans in general and for the two NHL teams that Johnny played for, the Calgary Flames up in Canada and the Columbus Blue Jackets in the United States. Matthew never made it to the big show, but Johnny and Matthew did play together in college, 1 year at Boston College.
Right.
So they did have the opportunity, at least at that time.
Wow. Tough to turn the page from that. But as you say, hockey is starting now. Football starting now. You must be happy with things going in the NFL now, right?
Well, 3-0 is great. When 3-0 is capped off with an absolute decimation of a team, like 47-10 last night, I'm just sitting there going, Kitty Litter Sale on aisle 2. And those shots of the Jaguars coach, Doug Peterson, I'm like, he's probably looking over at Niagara Falls and going, it's time for a swim. Because I'm going to sink here anyway.
Well, let's talk about the wonderful time we had about a week together. You and me and Bree all convened in Chicago, Illinois to pay tribute to our friend Liz and her special day getting married to now her wife, Michelle. So we're going to go ahead and do the show and tell. Once again, if you're listening to us, it would be advisable in this case for you to join us on our video realm so you know what we're talking about. So let me go ahead and start with the pictures. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to start with that one.
Well, let's just say it's a rather striking one given the time of year it is.
Yes. I saw this today, and wow, this had Liz all over it, at least to me. Because checks.
I cannot disagree at all, sir.
And it's a limited time item, a limited time Echo Dot, which you can get in white or black or navy, apparently. So I just learned about this today, and I'm wondering if it's still going to be around, if maybe it is still in stock by now, you know?
You could try and see what happens. I mean,
yeah.
you never know.
Anyway, let me go ahead into the let's go ahead into the pictures. I'll start over here, and this is called the Luxury Neff. My first dibs into the American Express Centurion Lounge, and this is at my home airport, which I was able to take advantage of because of my credit card that I have now, and it was very beautiful inside. Very classy inside, and of course here I am hanging out with Mr. Centurion.
Yes, he looks rather judgy, doesn't he?
Yeah, right. But yes, let me go on then to our trip, and so we land, and yes, Bree and I and Neff are hanging out at a hotel in Arlington Heights, and this is the literal definition of a courtyard, because this was a Marriott Courtyard hotel, and our room for the first night dumped out into the courtyard. We had a little porch in the back, so it was nice and quiet and peaceful. You can enjoy your morning drink out there.
Indeed. It was a rather nice little hotel. I found the accommodations quite striking, although I will say this. They had some weird ideas regarding accessibility that kind of, broke my tiny little brain. Especially the side doors where you buzz yourself in with your room key card. Great. But the doors aren't power assisted. So it's like,
yeah. And then as we go on, the next thing we can show you is something we did in Chicago to burn off some time, and this was something where I think Liz, I hope, would have been able to join us, but it was not to be. Not too far from our hotel, maybe like a 5 or not even a 5 to 10 minute drive, is a Kura Sushi. So yes, revolving sushi plates all around the restaurant, and we had a wonderful time there. We went twice. One time I had the kitsune udon, which is, I love having tofu with either the ramen or the udon. And then I'll show you also, this is actually towards the end of the trip. Bree and I and Neff, all of us together, ordering off of the touchscreen. So, Neff, your impressions of the place?
Let me put it this way. I could be in real trouble if I wasn't careful, because it's just like, okay, order this, order this, order this. It all comes and you're like, oh boy, eyes bigger than stomach. Yipe.
But, always a pleasure to go there. There's one in my neighborhood that Bree and I recently visited when she visited me earlier this year. And then on one of the previous occasions that Nev visited, we went to one that it was in New Jersey. So kind of a similar setup. The one closer to me, again, just recently opened. And then, of course, we headed out in our car for this wonderful union of Liz and Michelle. So Liz on the left, Michelle on the right. Congratulations to both of them. It was a wonderful little venue in the town where they live. And here's a picture with the entire XAR gang with Neff and Michelle and Liz and myself and Bree. Incidentally, Bree right now in her town having some internet problems. Hey, again, it's a Spectrum issue. Go figure. So I know she would be chiming in right now if she were here. Sad that she's not able to at the moment due to technical problems. But yes, want to acknowledge all of us having a wonderful time. And then we went out, spent some time. Oh, I want to load this. Liz gave me permission to show this. And her caption was, I guess like a D&D thing. I stabbed thee in the throat with a plastic fork.
Oh dear, loving sporks.
Yes. And then we hung out with Liz. Oh boy. Let me keep looking up these photos here because they're kind of mixed up all over the place. Here we are. The XAR gang, Neff and Liz and me and Bree, hanging out in Liz's place. A beautiful apartment that they have over in their town. And we had a wonderful time. We saw a lot of anime, which we're going to touch base on here as the show goes on. But yes, a wonderful time had all around. And Liz with Chester the dog. Oh boy, wonderful, cute dog. Did you enjoy the dog?
It's fun, although I must say he was very fickle. He would, come to you and, stay there for 2 seconds and then decide, you know what, I want to go somewhere else. Zoom.
And I'm also going to show one picture from inside the room where she streams from, with some artifacts, including, the ballet shoe gifts that we gave to her as a wedding present. And also she has some sketches of our mascots there that she decided to frame up. And those are from Agnes. Agnes does an amazing job. And Liz has taken the sketches that because sometimes I do show the progress of the artwork. And actually, there's one over there that's still in progress. So I think that's going to be fun to see when that gets finished. So, any particular favorites of yours, Neff, or Liz? Do you have a particular favorite? Maybe you could text that out in the chat there.
I think all of them are very, very well done. It's, I'm always amazed at the level of detail and the attention to detail with these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just go, yeah, and I can't even draw a straight line with a ruler.
So, yes, that was fun too. Let's go ahead. The Final Fantasy. Oh, yes, the one with the Umemi right in the center above the shoes as lightning. Yeah, that's something I miss playing. Maybe it'll look better on the new computer, and that's something else we're going to be talking about as well. Lots and lots of stuff to talk about here. Let's see. So we had a wonderful time once again with everybody, and then we moved on. We drove down to Indianapolis, and we went to Gainbridge Fieldhouse, home of the Indiana Fever. And here it is right here. A packed house to watch WNBA, and of course the star of the show is this person right here with the yellow sneakers on the right by the name of Caitlin Clark. Fine universe. I had a funny feeling. Enjoyed having you for lunch. Oh, that's Liz's mom, I think, in the chat. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to have you here on our Twitch stream. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So yes, Caitlin Clark, she has single-handedly, I mean, it's a team effort, of course, and a team sport, but I don't think you can argue, Neff, that Caitlin Clark has single-handedly increased the popularity of women's basketball by 100-fold.
Oh, I don't disagree in the slightest. Although I will point out that it seemed that she was targeted by the opposition that day to the point where I'm going, in the NBA, there would have been people thrown out of the game. I mean, she was getting hacked, whacked, slashed. Like, whoa.
Yeah. But no, I took a few pictures as well, including a video where it looked like she had been fouled when she got a layup, but yeah, they didn't call it, and then they took a timeout, and she almost argued herself out of the game with the refs. Although I think basketball rules sort of changed in the last few years, so we did see one of the opposing team's players get ejected for collecting 2 technical fouls, showing up the referees. That was fun to see. But no, this was a very close game. Indiana won by 1 point. Just 1 point. And a pleasure and a privilege to see everybody in attendance, especially all the young children, holding up signs supporting their favorite players. So, Neff, I'll put us back on camera here for just a moment because the one complaint we do have now, we make no secret here that for reasons we have to have accommodations for people with disabilities. So Neff has a disability. I had a temporary disability. I don't have it anymore, but he has a permanent disability. And for that reason, we need to have special accommodations. So we did have the special seating for those with disabilities on the 200 level of the field house. And very, very good vantage point and easy to get in and out of the seats, right, Neff?
Oh, it was a very good setup for as far as getting in and out of the seats themselves was concerned, as far as I was concerned.
Right. There was just one problem, though.
Yeah, 3 elevators, only 3, for the entire building for accessibility patrons, which in my mind is like ... what? I was like, okay, somebody didn't think this through.
Yeah, but that was our only complaint, and of course a little bit of traffic heading out of the arena. But one good thing about the hotel we stayed in, I think that was probably, even though we stayed for a night, or at least to me, that was the best out of the 3 hotels we stayed in. Would you agree or disagree?
Well, okay. Now, I got the accessible room in that hotel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
they told us that it was a converted conference room.
Yes.
Why is that important? Because this thing, you could have held a party with 20 people in there and had room. And it was beautiful. It was glorious. But then it was really weird because the first window is completely blacked out properly so you can sleep.
Yeah.
The second window in there, not so much. I had to have JR and Bree help me put a curtain or a blanket over that window so that, I wouldn't have, lights blazing in while I was trying to sleep.
Yeah. But no, I think they have to go down as the most spacious room you've ever stayed in, yeah?
I would say that is the most spacious room. I would say that room rivals my home in terms of sheer size. It was just like, whoa.
Yeah. So yes, to me that was the best, and it was located on I-65. Now I-65 is the interstate that connects Indianapolis with Chicago, so it's perfect. We got about a 40-minute drive to the arena, And then from there, it is about 3 hours back to Arlington Heights to our first hotel we stayed at. But I do want to show, as I go back over here, I do want to show a couple of these photos of the food we had out there. And again, this is something we kind of miss Liz on this. So across the highway from our hotel, there was a place called Backroads Barbecue. Now, I don't know if there's just one of these or like a local chain, but some of the best home-style barbecue food I've ever had in quite some time. We're looking at the biscuits with the apple butter. Delicious, Neff.
Indeed. And it like I said, it's very scary. You know, you look at all this food and you're going, I shouldn't be, but I'm on vacation. I don't care. I shouldn't, but I'm on vacation. I don't care.
And then, oh my, let's see. Do I have the thing that I had over here? Yes. This was the beef brisket sandwich with corn pudding for me. Oh my goodness. That's talking down to earth there, you know?
As I said, you had what I would call a very full and satisfying meal, and it was like, oh dear.
Now, I know Bree had the pulled pork, I think she had a pulled pork sandwich. And what did you have?
I had the breaded pork cutlet. If you had warned me, I would have fired you some of my hashtag food porn shots, because there was some very nice food there. And I said to some people, I said, look, this was probably the smallest meal I could possibly have had there.
Uh-huh.
It was like, holy mackerel.
Oh, yes.
But it was so good. It was so worth it.
And then the next picture is breakfast. And oh my goodness, one of the best pancake places I've come across in a while. So this is actually next door to our hotel. Not even across the highway, but next door. And this was a place called Flapjacks. I believe Flapjacks is a local chain. And they had one nearby. And I had, well, you can't see the sausage in the back, but the 2x2x2, so 2 buttermilk pancakes out of this world. I had the eggs. I like to have my eggs either scrambled or over hard. So this was done over hard, which was good. And then the sausage links in the back, and of course some coffee, nice hot piping coffee. I believe Neff had the scrambled eggs as well.
Yes, mine was the same order. I just had my eggs scrambled because I've learned in restaurants, always have the eggs scrambled.
Yes.
Because you always have that risk.
Yep.
It just doesn't get cooked enough, and yikes.
Yeah. So, yeah, lots of wonderful fun and a nice little road trip. We got, I don't put the picture up, but we got a Volvo XC90, I think, with a Florida license plate. And I've been getting some text messages every day now saying, thank you, your toll has been paid.
Yes, and that was a hybrid, which is sort of reminiscent. Well, it was actually reminiscent of the car I had before I've gone fully electric. But it's really weird sitting now in a car with a motor, because I'm not used to it anymore. And I'm hearing motors and I'm hearing clunking, and I'm like, what the? And I'm like, oh yeah, this car has a motor. Oh yeah, it's going to make strange sounds. Okay, fine.
Yes. And it also gives you a display on the dash, I guess because it has the smart cameras like most new cars have now. I think it's like a legal requirement by now. But this car in the dash tells you when the speed limit changes, which was sometimes correct, sometimes incorrect. Because I knew that on the way to Liz's place, we kept getting warnings that the speed limit dropped down to 25 miles per hour. No, it didn't. The reason it said that is because we passed signs saying that we were on Indiana State Road 25. And the signs for the Indiana State Road are white and rectangular in the same style as the speed limit signs.
Yeah. Somebody didn't think that through in the state of Indiana, really. It's like, what? And funny thing is, I don't think the Volvo would have done this if you had used the adaptive cruise control. Mine would have, because there is an option to have the speed signs help you stay at the proper speed.
Ooh.
So I could be doing 65.
Yeah.
That Indiana sign comes up, and the car will slam itself, trying to knock me down 25.
Oh, man.
I'm like going, I actually ran into that once with the car in the first couple of days. I turned that option right off. I'm like, no, I don't need that much help. Go away.
But yes, wonderful times had. And I think both Neff and I have a few things to show from that little trip. Because I have my goodie bag that, a little present that Liz gave to me. And a few wonderful items in here. But of course, the best part is the one I'm pulling out right now. Hopefully you can see it on the screen. Congratulations, it's a JR horse.
Yes, I mean that was like hilarious. I'm going, okay, that's cute and fuzzy and yipe.
So of course, complete with the hair too. So, I believe one person got a unicorn horse.
I believe so. I know it wasn't me.
Then it would have been Bree. Yeah.
Mm.
Let's see a few among the few other things. A nice little chicken.
Yes. Yes. When you're going clucking insane, toss a chicken.
And a little hand towel as well. So
very nice.
Oh, wonderful, Liz. Thank you so much again for your hospitality. I definitely want to come back, and hopefully the others can as well. Neff gave me a gift. He brought me some chocolates from the land up north.
Yes, oddly enough, these are chocolates that, for whatever reason, never took off in the States.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It's like blink,
yes.
blink, blink.
I'm having some coffee crisp every so often, so that's nice.
Okay, I'm going to have to get you a more permanent supplier.
Yeah.
I think you like those.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good. Those and the arrows are also nice too. I've got a liking toward the mint arrows, but the chocolate arrows are also nice. The chocolate in Canada, they don't make it the same way for their snacks as they do the chocolates here in the U.S.
Yeah, because our requirements in terms of what goes into them are slightly different than what the U.S. allows to go in them. You know what I mean? So yeah, you'll definitely taste the difference. It's like, for example, if you get chocolate from Japan or you get chocolate from Switzerland or chocolate from Britain, you'll know that there are differences the minute you taste it, because you're like, wait a minute, it doesn't taste the same.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about some of the anime we watched together, both with Liz and while we were, had some downtime in our hotel room. You got us hooked into the series Alya Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian.
Yes, and the amazing part is that the titular character Alya is voiced by a Japanese VA, of course.
Yeah.
But the Japanese VA, Sumire
Uesaka, I think.
Yes, thank you. She is a Russophile, and so she speaks Russian. Now, the trick was that the Russian she's speaking isn't quite accurate.
Yeah, you told me that. I was surprised.
And the funny thing was, in the English dub, they found an English VA who could speak perfect Russian. and that's how it came to be, because people were listening and going, wait a minute. She's saying this one's saying that, which is right. They looked, and of course, I'm sure they assumed that, the American VA got it wrong.
Yeah.
Nope.
But,
so, I mean, that was hilarious. And it's like, it's one of those crazy rom-coms where, just when you think you know what's going on, the curveball from left field plunks you, right upside the temple.
I mean, people know that I'm a sap for these school animes, so this was right up my alley, slice of life at school. And it's nice to see the whole plot line play out from start to finish, with Alya, kind of struggling a little bit, and the other protagonist, whose name escapes me.
Masachika.
Masachika. You find out the background behind him, and he's got a little bit of an Anya vibe because of the way he knows what Alya is saying.
Well, you see, that's the best part. He knows, and he's like, I can't say anything because, Alya will freak out and probably faint and hurt herself, etc. But it's more like he gets embarrassed because she keeps flirting with him in Russian, which he knows, but can't react to, at least not the way he normally would.
Yeah.
So he has to, ask her, what did you say? And of course, she lies like a rug because she doesn't want to admit what she just said.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, God.
But no, a wonderful recommendation, which the last episode came out last week, and so we watched it. Was very nice. If Bree was on, I'm sure we'd talk about Ramen Akaneko. That series finished. Did you watch an episode with us? Yeah, you did.
Yes, I did. I you know what? It's one of those weird little anime where it's like, that's an interesting premise. It really is. I mean, I haven't had a chance to watch more, of course, yet, but
yeah.
Time. Hopefully, I'll get some time, in the next little while. But it's like,
yeah, it comes to a bit of a crescendo in the final chapter, but I recommend watching it from start to finish. It's all about a ramen shop run by talking cats, so it's kind of like an alternate universe in that sense.
like, wait a minute, cats making ramen.
Yes.
And all I can think of is cats, hair, ramen. Ugh.
Let's see. What else is on the list? We saw, at my urging, the movie Spy X Family Code White. Finally. We all saw it together, and that was cute as well. And
I'll say this. It was a self-contained movie. You didn't need to know Spy X Family to watch it and understand it and really enjoy it. That was the key. I mean, some of these anime movies require you to have a certain level of knowledge of the characters or the setup before you go in. But this one, they did it right in that you could walk in there never having seen a minute of Spy X Family, and immediately you're enthralled. Immediately, the highs, the lows, the comedy, the drama, it's all there.
Yeah, and if you did watch it, then that just kind of enhances your enjoyment of the movie even more, I think.
Well, yeah, because then what certain character quirks are. And,
exactly.
Especially, one your forger and her, inability to hold her liquor.
So, what else is on the list? I have a little list here on my screen. Oh, yes. No longer allowed in another world.
Yeah, that one was interesting. I will say that, because you're just like going, wait a minute. I got, if you've ever seen Sayonara Zetsubu Sensei, it gave me those vibes where it's just like the main character, wants to check out permanently, and he's trying and it doesn't work. And at one point he's like, you know what? Okay, we're just going to run with what we got.
Yeah. So, we were, at least I was hooked when watching the first few episodes at Liz's place. And even Nev suggested, I've explained before on the air, I'm a guy who prefers the original Japanese language with subtitles. I know Nev prefers dubbed titles. And Nev, you suggested that we go with the dub. And I really like the dub.
Yeah, because again, when they can get voice actors and a director that I believe understand the material, and then B can really work it well.
Yeah,
it's really very enjoyable, and you're not constantly having to read.
Right. So I think they're done with that series. However, the dubbed versions are slowly catching up. They're a few weeks behind on each of those. So I think a dub version came out this week of one of the later episodes, which we'll have to catch up on. And then I think they've got 3 more weeks or so left to release the remaining dubs from the way things look. So
Yeah,
it's
and then,
not
of
one of
course, they
those
have to start
simul
working
dubs.
on-
Like,
I was going to say, now they have to start working on the season that's coming out.
Right. Oh, there's
Fall
another
season.
one?
Well, no, there's a fall season, right?
Oh,
Now,
okay.
New animes are coming and new dubs, and
So in general, you mean? Yeah, exactly. And then that was that show where we watched at least, and I want to apologize, Liz, in advance. Neff, Bree, and Liz. No, Neff, Bree, and myself, I mean. We saw one episode and we were like,
And the best part is, I'm friends with other people in another Discord, and when I told them my reaction to that particular anime, they're like, "You didn't even get to the scene with the vomit," and I'm going, "If I couldn't take this, there is no way that vomit scene and I will have a good time together. No."
We should probably clue everybody to what we're talking about.
Yeah, that would be Chainsaw Man.
The premise is interesting, but there's a reason why we looked this up, and I believe this airs after midnight in Japan when most people have gone to sleep.
Yeah, let's just say that first episode, I said to those friends in the other Discord, I said, look, even a vampire is going, wait a minute, that's too much. That is too much. No.
And then we watched an episode, or we tried to at least, of Frieren.
Yeah, you watched. I think you got something out of it. I mean,
Yeah.
again, Frieren is one of those shows where you can either really enjoy it or be put off by the pacing, because the pacing is slow.
Right.
But that is deliberate because, of course, the title character Frieren is an elf and will live for many, many, many years.
Oh yeah.
So for her, 10 years is like, for us 10 seconds.
Right. But
so it's got that pacing to it.
Yeah, it's got that Zelda vibe, I think. So I think the atmosphere, it make it conducive for a good show, and definitely one that I want to continue when I got some time. But yes, it was a nice dose of anime overload to complement the wonderful week that we had with Liz and friends.
Yeah, it's the most anime I've watched in one particular time frame in a long time, because real life job, it's sort of like by the time I come home, don't want to do anything, just roll over and play dead.
And then, coming up soon, we're gonna have Deadpool and Wolverine. You can watch at home.
Yeah, when that finally gets put to the streaming services, I'll just be curious which one.
I think it'll be Disney Plus for us.
Well, then it's probably Disney Plus up here, because the mouse doesn't like to share with Canadians. Meanwhile, when you're speaking of streaming, I'm just going to warn folks that in Canada, anyways, that your Monday night's hockey is going to be of a slightly different variety.
Oh, maybe in a few years from now, right? Yeah.
No. This season.
Oh.
Because Amazon got the Monday night package from Rogers.
Okay.
Rogers sold it off. So now there's all new. Well, I won't say all new, because they're using some familiar faces from other networks. For example, Mark Messier, a couple of others that I can't think off the top of my head. But it's now, you need at least 3 now services if you want to watch everything.
Wow.
In Canada, and it's like, okay, this is getting kind of stupid.
Right. One of the things I enjoy when I visit Neff and the Neff Cave every so often is the sheer amount of things he goes through on the small computer that's attached to his television, so he can access all the sports he's subscribed to and everything.
Well, funny you should mention that, because that little computer and I have now had a disagreement. I screwed up somehow. BIOS locked me out of updates to Windows 11, so now I'm afraid to even use the thing. So I've gone back to the Apple TV.
Okay.
Which is mostly okay, but there are still some apps on the Apple TV where the designers should be drawn, quartered, covered in honey, and thrown on an anthill. I'm looking at you, High Dive, and your crappy streaming, your crappy streaming software.
I can double that. I can attest to that as well.
I mean, my favorite is now they have profiles, which doesn't really matter because you can set your favorite shows or your favorite series. There's no way to get to them.
Yeah.
I'm like, you sort of half did this.
Yeah. So as we continue on with the podcast, just a reminder, folks, we are going to go past our usual end time because we're still catching up on things from the last 3 months in our initial podcast of season number 10. And also, just to remind you, we will not have a post stream. We'll not be playing any games when we're done tonight. I want to process this show tonight because this is the last day and potentially the last stream, if all goes according to plan, with the 4-year-old station/game computer. Yoshida EX Squared is going to be semi-retired after 4 wonderful years of service. It's going to be going to my dad, who still owns the original computer that I built for XAR. So the original computer I built in 2010, 2011, when I took over XAR, he's still running. And now it's showing signs of a slow death. Even though my dad's like, nah, it still works. When he turned it on one day, and he kind of told this to me when I was away, he turned on the computer and the time was 3 hours off. He rebooted the computer and the time was back.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
So either the computer magically transported itself to California, or yeah, there's something going on there.
Or maybe the other direction too. So, as I've been mentioning online and maybe in the last streams we did before the hiatus just now, investigating into a new computer build, one that would kind of do the same things that this one does, but take it up to the next level. So, good graphics, good streaming performance, good productivity performance as well. Of course, I want to play my simulation games from time to time. You got Flight Simulator, Train Simulator. You know that I like to play sim games, and we like to play them every so often here. And now it's time to go to the next level. I've been asking around during the summer, going to different streams and YouTubers to ask for their opinions on what I should get. And, a lot of them suggest that for what I need a specific CPU. Now we're going to get into a little bit of computer tech stuff here. A lot of people, including the people that got back to me, say that the AMD Ryzen 7800 X3D is the best CPU you can get right now. And it was on sale during the summer, but during the summer I wasn't prepared to buy anything. There's no way I could buy anything while I'm hundreds of miles away from my house for the summer. So I had to wait until... I was going to wait until next month to do it. So then August, September comes around. AMD releases a new series of CPUs. And as I'm sure you've seen the news, Neff, they didn't sell very well.
Yeah, it seems that AMD has developed a case of the Intels, aka produce the hottest thing that turns out to be, utter trash once it's actually in users' hands.
Right. So for that reason, people started to buy the 7800 X3D again, and the price went up to around $400, which is still below the manufacturer's retail price, but a lot of people were getting it. And in the process of doing my homework, I'm going to put this picture up. I was featured on the channel of a popular YouTuber called The PC Builder. That's Jason the PC Builder. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's got about almost 500,000 YouTube followers. And he does amazing, easy to understand videos about suggested builds, the right equipment you should buy. And he has a segment called Boost My Build. I participated by submitting my Boost My Build, and he actually featured it. There's my handle on YouTube, XAR Side Project. My favorite games are simulation. Total for my build is $18.50. So he set the budget there for $18.50. I was prepared to spread it a little more, of course. But yes, we go and we go into the video, and he says, "Oh, we've got problems. We saw the video." And it was cool to take a look at in real time. This was the first real, video feedback I got on what I wanted to do. So he suggested a few things, and I took a few suggestions. And he did suggest that I stay with the 7800 X3D, but he also suggested that I get it right away because, again, it was starting to sell out. So I want to say, towards the end of our vacation, I saw that Amazon and Newegg didn't have that CPU in stock. Walmart had it to ship for $3.99. So I bought it to have it delivered here to my home. The day after I ordered it, it was sold out at Walmart for delivery anyway. I think you could go to like a brick and mortar Walmart store, but you couldn't order it to be shipped. As a matter of fact, the CPU I ended up getting wasn't from a distribution facility, but some random Walmart in Pennsylvania just shipped it out of their store to me.
Okay, that's bizarre.
Yep. But I will now show you the build because now I have all the parts ordered. And I am just waiting on the case. So I use a website called PC Part Picker, and this is what I have. I have the Ryzen 7800 X3D. PC Builder and a few others have suggested the AIO water or / liquid cooling, which have seen many improvements in the last few years. But I think I took Neff's advice, and I was like, yeah, I'm not exactly sure about jumping to AIOs at the moment.
Yeah, because while AIOs are very good, in moving the thermals along, etc., I'm always of the mind liquid, electricity.
Yeah.
They don't mix.
So apparently, this is the best cooler that will probably work out for this processor because it produces a lot of heat. Anything with more cores, we probably then have to start looking into an AIO solution. Motherboard is almost a similar type of motherboard I have now from MSI, which I enjoy. Memory, he suggested, I think, Team Group. I went with a brand I like, G-Skill Flare, and this is the type of memory they all suggest now. Everybody suggests now that if you want to play games, 16 gigabytes of memory is no longer enough. You have to go for 32 gigs. So we went for 32 gigs DDR5 6000 speed and a CAS latency of 30, which PC Builder suggests is a sweet spot. Storage. I got a good deal on this. I do have a Samsung storage in the computer I have now, and I ended up going with this. I got this for $30 off through a deal I got with my American Express points. So that was cool. The video card, Zotac GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Super. Now, the video card is the big debate, especially considering that the video card is probably about half the cost of the whole computer. And there are a lot to choose from. And the question is, do you go with this, or do you go with something like AMD, which does similar performing cards, but they're cheaper? Now, similar performing cards as far as games go, but as far as productivity and streams go, which is what we're going to do, then the NVIDIA kind of wins hands down. So, Neff, you can take up on that, because I know you had an opinion on that as well.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, NVIDIA tends to be the more stable drivers-wise, tends to be the more stable with their equipment, only because they tend to be a bit more controlling about, okay, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, you can't overclock that. No, you can't underclock that. Whereas AMD is a bit more laissez-faire and says, yeah, no problem. We'll get the software out when we get it out. There might be a bug or two, but it won't be fatal.
Right. So this is the one that PC Builder Jason recommended. When I went to pick this video card up, there was another 4070 Ti supercard that went down to the same price as this, and it looked nice, but it was also a lot larger, width-wise, lengthwise, and it would take up like 4 slots instead of 3 slots in the case. So I'm like, no, I think I'll stick with what I got. Thank you very much.
Yeah, because space in the case is also important for airflow, right?
Exactly. I'm going to skip the case for the moment. Power supply. So the brand that PC Builder suggested was the Be Quiet Pure Power. And according to this calculator, conferred that I could have gone with 850 watts because the max load would have been around 550 watts. I was going to go 850, but Neff, you suggested that I go for 1,000.
Yeah, because remember, even though you might not hit peak constantly, right?
Mm-hmm.
As the power supply ages out, it can't necessarily produce peak power constantly. So I'm always of the opinion a little bit more power in reserve is better if you're going to keep the machine for a while. If you're not, and it's just, something you intend to throw away in a couple of years, sure. You get away with the lowest power rating and the cheapest one you get.
Right. So, but I think all around, I think this is going to be, we haven't talked about the case yet, but I think this is going to be a computer. Neff's voice is slipping a little bit. I'm hearing him just fine. Oh, you're clipping.
Interesting.
Well, your voice is okay, but maybe it's after, if you stop talking. We pointed this out. We noticed this before we went on the air. So, I think it sounds okay to me, but, if it gets worse, go ahead and let me know. I do apologize for that. So we went with 1,000 watts, and as I was saying, before we get to the case, I think this is a computer which is going to, be easily upgradable. If we want some more oomph, we'll just add some more memory. Maybe we can get a stronger video card. Maybe we can get a better CPU, and then we'll have to, unfortunately, at that point, probably switch to a water cooling system. But no, I think for starters, this is going to work out just well. The memory is also low profile, which I also like too. Now for the case. The case was the big debate. So I'm going to show you this. The one that Jason suggested was this. This is a Montech XR. Now, Montech is a brand that has come out on its own in the last few years for cheap and reliable cases. And I see this one, and I'm like, okay, it looks nice, but do I really want to have an aquarium in my bedroom? I mean, if you were in my shoes, Neff, would you get something like this?
Nope. but that's because I don't like weight in my case.
Right.
Glass is heavy.
Right. So I kind of settled on this one initially, which was the Air 903 Max. You see, it has 3 humongous fans on the front. It's got a fan in the back, and so the airflow is going to set up pretty nicely. So I was prepared to buy this. But then over the weekend, I go to Newegg, and Newegg apparently has a sale on this, which is the Sky 2 GX. And it dropped down to the same price as the one you saw previously. And I look at this case, and I'm like, this is pretty snappy. The aesthetics are a lot better. You still have 3 big fans in the front, and you have the colors around the edges. And so I think this is a case I can get along with. So I decided to buy it. Similar in size to the other case, but again, lots of room to grow. You see on the top, there is a little grill up there. Heat can escape that way, but it's also the best place to mount radiators for your water cooling in case you come down to it. Now, one thing that this does not have in the back is a rear fan. So for that reason, if we go back to the part list here, I added a case fan for about $10 over here just to exhaust heat out of the back. So that is the story on my computer, Neff. I have all the parts except for the case. The case will hopefully be delivered tomorrow, and then I start building. What are your thoughts on everything I've shown you on all this computer part overload?
Well, I think you've got the makings of a very good, stable, long-term system, which is what you wanted, right?
Yeah.
So I think you're doing well there. I mean, again, because of my situation, I'm going, that just looks heavy. And no, but that's just me.
Yes. Well, maybe an excuse one day next time I go up there in your direction, maybe I'll build something for you if you're interested.
Or I just bite the bullet and buy one of those new mini PCs, because some of them are frighteningly powerful for what, the size they are.
True. That's actually something I considered for my dad. It was just something, on the palm of his, right on his desk right there. It would remove so much clutter, but, you have to be a little smart with how you set those things up.
Well, yeah, because, of course, most of those little ones don't have as many ports. Then you've got to, worry about, okay, what has to be attached, what can go on a hub, and
right.
So
right.
that's a bit of a thing.
Right. So that for that reason, the rest of the schedule is up in the air because if I have everything, I will be setting things up, and I will be testing stuff. I will be installing the games, installing the drivers and the chipsets and the BIOS and everything to make sure stuff works. So more than likely next week is when we return with more programming for you guys, and maybe we can unlock the true potential of the graphics, see how they go. Maybe I don't need 2 computers to stream. Maybe things will go well. And of course, we can lay back and relax, and we can go back to playing Apollo Justice. We can go maybe try the new Ace Attorney Investigations now that just came out, which is pretty popular. So, would you like to fill in the shoes of Miles Edgeworth, or would you rather stay a defense attorney, Neff?
As far as Miles Edgeworth is concerned, again, without knowing the backstory that everybody says, redeems him, the only reason I want to fill his shoes is with concrete so that he can, swim with the fishes.
There's something else I want to show you here. More show and tell on our podcast here, folks. And now, Caldeth, I'm looking specifically at you, sir, because you posted this sometime during the year that there was like a crowdfunding project. And I don't know what I was drinking that day, but I got into it, and now I have the final result.
Oh dear. Am I going to be scared?
Oh, there it is, right on the screen.
Well, I'm not seeing it yet, so I'm curious. Ha ha ha. Yikes.
The Hatsune Miku plushie, licensed, designed in Canada.
Okay, I'm going to, do the Canadian thing. I'm sorry.
Well, you should have the Canadian earbuds in that case, no?
Oh, dear.
So this is kind of like a Kickstarter. I don't think it's a Kickstarter, but something else. And I'll credit to Colin because I think he was the one that posted that. But now I have something else to put in the room besides, JR Horse and all the other stuff. And the evil Sarah and Yumemi, we have to dig those out now because it's cutting close to Halloween. It's that wonderful time of the year, pumpkin spice. Are you a fan of pumpkin spice at all, Neff?
No, that's not my thing. I mean, I appreciate a good flavoring as much as the next guy, but pumpkin spice and no, it's never been a love relationship.
Colin, we may have to go digging through the Discord because I could have sworn you did. Oh.
Well, you did mention alcohol was involved, so it may have been somebody else. You do
well, I didn't say that. I said I was drinking. What I was drinking, I have no idea.
Well, the fact that you ended up with a Hatsune Miku plushie, I kind of think alcohol was involved.
Yeah. The Sailor Moon art book. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Colin mentioned the Sailor Moon art book. Bree got me that. Bree got me the Sailor Moon art book.
Ah. Well, I was going to say, it's like, when it comes to weird projects, etc., I mean, I don't think between the two of us, you can't top the fact that I paid, I think it was $2,000 to be included in the Riding Bean reissued Blu-ray as a innocent bystander. And the fact was that the artist drew me on a motorbike wiping out thanks to, the insanity of the Bean Bandit and his cop buddy. It's like, okay, that was just fine.
And then we have the gift that I brought for Neff, which was a philatelic or philanthropic, I don't know how do you say it, Neff? What's the word? Philanthropic sheet of stamps from the United States, useless in Canada except for its sentimental value. Stamps honoring one of the greatest MCs in all of television history. And the question is, who is Alex Trebek?
I was going to say, you almost led me into saying it. I was going to say it. It's like, okay, who's Alex Trebek? Yeah.
But yes, you were happy to see that, and I think it was a nice thing that the post office and our federal government did to honor Alex.
I'm actually funny that I don't believe Canada Post ever did anything for him after he passed. I'd have to check. Mm-hmm. But I'm very surprised because, of course, we like to celebrate our own, and Alex did have, a stint up here, both with the CBC and with a private broadcaster who did another game show up here, Pitfall, which was one of those game shows that the execution was so weird that it's no wonder that they went bankrupt and his last paycheck bounced. and he had it hung up in his office to remind him, make sure you get cash first.
Understood, Carl. That I think again, I think we'll live with it. I'm gonna check the recording when we're done just to be sure, but I think we're gonna be okay. So wow, yeah, we have had a lot of stuff to cover, and now I want to say something about the XAR mascots because we have a couple of new sets coming for you guys, starring two cosplayers, one being Nala and the other being Mischievous Duck. Nala did a Sarah, which we've started to put on our XAR Mascots account. So we hope you check XAR Mascots out for her interpretations of Sarah. A little bit of a school vibe there. This is back to school time, so this is perfect. So thank you, Nala. Nala did justice to Yumemi. She did a great job with Sarah, and we've got one more Yumemi project, I think, scheduled before the end of the year. Then, of course, we have Mischievous Duck in her Ren Fair outfit as Yumemi, reminding you and everybody else to check out at XAR Mascots on Instagram. That is where you will find the Extreme Anime Radio mascots now. Our main account, Extreme Anime Radio, is still around, but we'll post more podcast stuff and more general stuff there. Occasionally, we will post some mascot content there. A couple other projects coming up where we already have agreements with artists and cosplayers that we would post on Extreme Anime Radio, so we'll keep that in mind. But for the most part, you'll be going to XAR Mascots. So, yes, as we said in the Instagram post earlier today, the start of a new podcast season, but also the end of an era, because 4 years ago, we built this PC in the middle of a pandemic, if you remember. And now it's time to kind of move up and up, if you will.
When you say that, it reminds me that the box I'm using right now is about 4 years old. But my problem was I overspec'd the thing when I bought it, so I've got probably another couple of years before I go, okay, it's getting old and slow and annoying me.
Yeah. But yes, this has been a wonderful show to take part in tonight. Any other thoughts on your mind, Neff, from the trip or anything else?
Well, I will say this. I mean, it was great seeing you and Bree again, and it was great, bombing around. But next time I want to do some driving because I felt kind of useless just sitting there in the passenger seat, to be honest.
Oh, no, we listen to wonderful satellite radio, both on your phone and mine, through our phones.
And the funny thing was, this car we rented, a nice high-end Volvo, CarPlay was wired. I'm going, this is Stone Age. What are you doing?
I think they have Bluetooth too, but we just didn't pay attention.
Well, it has Bluetooth, but Bluetooth doesn't do what CarPlay can do.
So a separate thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So, everybody was happy. I listened to my 90 station. Neff listened to Premier League and also some NFL. But then we had to make Bree happy. So on the way back from Indianapolis to Chicago, we listened to the Sirius XM K-pop station.
Yeah, that was interesting. And I'm going, why haven't they figured out a J-pop station yet? And then we discussed it among ourselves. We're figuring licensing.
Yeah, probably. We think that, obvious case, and one good example is Tatsuro Yamashita. Because any time any of his songs show up on YouTube, very popular, especially in the last few years with the resurgence of city pop. Big city pop performer way back when. He still does things to this day. But yes, anytime Tatsuro Yamashita's music shows up on YouTube, after a certain amount of time, it just goes away because it gets struck down. So yes, you do notice now that some artists are licensing some of their stuff on YouTube. Case in point now, if you want to listen to a lot of the old Sailor Moon music, Nippon Columbia has now licensed it to YouTube, so you can go to YouTube and listen to those tracks legally, which is a cool thing. Then again, there is Spotify, which I still have to sign up for, and at this rate, I guess I'm going to wait until we have an October Prime Day or Black Friday special to see if, maybe Spotify will give me 2 years for free or something like that. I don't think I'm going to be that lucky, but...
I would say 2 years for free? That's a bit of a stretch.
But I know there are a few people around here watching and listening that will be able to help me set that up. Liz is also going to help me set up a few new tools and gadgets for this stream. I was going to set them up were it not for the fact that now we're going to build the computer. So we're going to set those up once everything's up and running with the new system. One of the things, Neff, is a slot machine. You can spend your points and spin the slot machine.
Yes. The Extreme Mario Podcast, home of the degenerate gamblers.
We'll see what we can do within reason to implement that, but I have it purchased and I have it available to download now. So let's see here. As we click over here, we have our closing commentary for the podcast as per usual.
If you have any questions, concerns, compliments, complaints about this podcast or any of our Twitch streams, drop us a line at extremeanimeradio@gmail.com or hit us up on social media. Go to linktree.com/anime radio. There you'll find our Facebook account, our X account, our Instagram account, our Twitch streams, our YouTube channel, and archive versions of this podcast are available at XARpodcast.net. That's XARpodcast.net.
Yeah. That's a mistake on my end because I think at the beginning of the show I said anchor.fm/anime radio, which technically still works, but there's a reason we bought XARpodcast.net because we don't want to have you type in too many characters. And speaking of characters, Sarah and Yumemi, the XAR mascots, you can follow them at XAR Mascots. Most of the new content, once again, with our mascots will go to that Instagram account and not to Extreme Anime Radio. So once again, wonderful times we've had this month, spending time with Liz and Michelle and their families and the big occasion that they had. So once again, congratulations. Lots of love and luck to you guys. And we will hopefully be back here on XAR on Twitch next week. I don't anticipate us having a stream again for the rest of this week unless there's some sort of major miracle. But the plan is hopefully to return to streams next week when I've hopefully run everything for a few days, bench test stuff, and then of course I have to. This is going to be the cool thing. I get to, swap cases so that I can then continue to prep this current computer to go to my dad. That's going to be a nice thing, and maybe I'll lose some more weight like I did over the summer.
Well, best of luck to you. Hopefully there are no, last-minute malfunctions because, of course, as you know, building a PC is 1 part sweat, 1 part tears, 1 part curse words, and 1 part magic smoke. Whatever you do, don't let the magic smoke out.
Yes. Oh, and hopefully with the tools, I'll be set because I did opt for a nice little small compact toolkit recommended by a few YouTubers called iFixit. And they have magnetized drivers that, the bits will be able to pick up screws that may fall loose somewhere in the case.
Well, when you say iFixit, all I can think of is, yeah. And unfortunately for me, it would be I break it.
You got to be more optimistic than that,
Yeah, the last one I did by myself, which was many years ago now, it had a little bit of me in it by the time I was done with it.
Yeah.
It's like my DNA was in the case. It's like, no, I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, folks, we thank you for tuning in to the first podcast of 2024's fall season. We'll be back with some more podcasts as the months go ahead. And once again, I will go back and check this recording when we're done just to make sure everything's up to snuff before I go ahead and start processing it. But we will see you next week with more streams, hopefully when the new computer is all set. In the meantime, for Neff, I'm JR. Thanks for watching and listening. And remember,
keep on looking out for the Extreme Radio Twitch streams. And don't forget, archive versions of this podcast are available at XARpodcast.net. That's XARpodcast.net. Good night, everybody.
Matane, everybody. See you next time.